when I don't have my Python set up on my laptop, I use my son's laptop to set up the code, execute the code, which I'll show you. That means I was also trying to Ashok sir while coming over here. So it doesn't need any coding experience anymore. It is more of your analytical skills. That is the start of the message for you. You need to improve your analytical skills. What does it mean? You're thinking, breaking down the problem into multi-pieces, which helps you to put them together to solve the problem. So GenAI is one flavor of that. Before we start, what the industry wants. So you see this, the left side of it and the right side of it. The right side of it is the data points, how the industry is being segmented. This particular slide, you see this. Hope I'm audible here without the mic. If any of you are not able to let me know my voice or this stronger and louder. See there are two segments in this. The 25% of the entire population. What does this indicate? Healthcare and insurance. The problem starts here, right? Today, most of our time goes towards managing our ailments. So, every one of us have got a health problem. How is that getting created? The root causes, I'm going to speak about that in the next slide, with a particular industry which is causing the healthcare revenue to go higher. Second is insurance, to cover that health on all regards, maybe an accident care or a proactive care, a reactive care. This segment actually is going to speak about why the investment is more required. Agriculture 12%, energy and sustainability, which is predominantly your solar power, generating energies for other purposes. And education is 5%. See this, 5% of education is only investing on generative AI. It has to improve that without a lecturer on the classroom. If you put everyone on self-paced learning, that's not going to help. We need a lecturer. That's why that percentage is very low. We need some aids to help us all along. Next is about telco industry, which is towards 6G and quantum. I don't even speak about 5G here. Like the quantum computing, high-speed networking is very important. That is taking the 10% next to healthcare and insurance. Comes retail industry. So this, we'll go in detail about this in the next slide though, but I'll give you a heads up over here. Retail industry, why is it 12% of trend? It's all due to our laziness. So how many of you use Swiggy? It is being frank and open. How many of you use Swiggy or Zomato on a daily basis? Please raise your hands. Nothing wrong.
Not daily.
Very good. Only two. How many use in a week? At least once in a week. How many of you use at least once in a month? So, what is the reason for using that? You are not using that in the past. You started using. How many? Next question is, how many of you use Blinkit or Zepto or Instamart on a daily basis? The number of hands are very high. So that means without all this quick commerce, we cannot survive today. Right? So what is behind that? That I'm going to speak in the next slide.
That is, price is clear or not.
So the retail industry is primarily driving all our needs today, right? The retail industry is more heading towards providing quick solutions for them. I gave an example of a quick commerce with a couple of examples. Pharmaceutical, this is another span which is also creating just with Maida producing a lot of tablets. There are industries which is being got. I saw there was one big company, spam was identified in Chennai because producing medicines of zero value. There are plenty of spam happening, but still the industry is investing 8% on pharmaceuticals. Manufacturing, the biggest space today. Producer to consumer. If you see this particular market, this is predominantly driven by manufacturing. Without manufacturing, it is going to move. Yes, predominantly the high in the manufacturing space. This is overall the availability of the industry across. With this, next is about automobile. Next comes automobile. We have which includes including EV segments, the automobile industry, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, trucks, all kind of vehicles. Along with that, we have electronic vehicles. So this is the segmentation where the industry is investing on generative AI. This is great news for all of us. This is where all of you are going to play a vital role in the next generation. That is the message for all of you. No one need to worry. The current time is created by one man. I don't want to call out the name here. The one man is driving the entire world, which is putting all of us down. Economic curve says. Param can speak about economic curve for pretty long hours, but I'll give you in a nutshell. There follows a boom, followed by a big recession. Please understand, you are going through a recession situation due to political factors. Situation will change. You are going to have an amazing boom in the future, which is driven by all this industry which is investing on Gen AI. What are we going to do on Gen AI, which we are going to discuss in the next session. So let's take what of the majority of the industry are investing in double digits. We have seen that the proportion. AI and automation is must and mandate from the adoption perspective. Customer experience. I give an example of LinkedIn and Zomato, where we use it for our daily needs, which is inevitable. We have to use them. Without that, we cannot survive. That's how it is. Okay? Without how many of you go to banks these days? Hardly anybody. This is a wonderful transformation which is happening in the banking industry as well. Right? In fact, during the pandemic time, especially in 2020, I opened an account in SBI. I haven't been to the bank. Even for opening the account, I did it remote. Even today, I haven't visited even once to the bank. I was able to do everything with my ATM machine. Deposit a check. I go to an ATM machine, deposit a check. Withdraw the cash, needless to say, we have been using for more than 2-3 decades. No doubt about it. So, bank doesn't expect you to visit the branch for any purpose. That is the level of automation where the digital transformation has happened in India. Needless to say, this is all the opportunities for the next data-driven decision making. This is another excellent space where all of us are going to have a space to support our career, especially data-driven decision making. We discussed about that in speed, scalability, and resilience. You see this. We keep attempting to book a ticket, we keep attempting to buy a product. All of them need resilience. Today, we implemented the technical solution. All behind the scenes there are technology which runs this, but making an repeated attempts to make it successful is all in our hands. Next comes security, trust, and regulatory compliance. Key behind all the success rate. Without a secure system, nobody is going to touch upon any application. If I am not providing a foolproof solution, which is vulnerable solution, which is exposing whatever data entered, putting them all together, is what the industry is looking for from the technology perspective. Industry focus. I have 10 different industries which we spoke in the previous slide. Let's start discussing in detail about each and every industry. I put agriculture on top. Why agriculture is on top? Any of you do farming here? I'm a writer, mane hoಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವ್ಯವಸಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋರು ಯಾರು ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? Not even a single person do agriculture here? Not. I want to introduce myself proudly as a farmer. I'm a farmer by profession. I know how to plow the land. I know how to sow the seed. I know how to harvest. This is the only happy profession I have more than soccer. I request everyone to get into farming because all of us are coming from farming background. Needless to say that go home and check with your parents, check with your grandparents. Maybe one of them would have been a farmer. That is for sure because we are all coming from a farming background. This is the important industry which needs sufficient care. I said about the proportion of health care and insurance taking the maximum portion out of investment. Why so? We are spending lots of our earning towards spending towards medicine, right? Because there is no care on the agricultural industry as such. So you see this data-driven farming and precision agriculture is the first thing of which is what it. Data-driven farming is as you sow, so will you reap. Is a wonderful proverb. Today, will you be able to reap? Become a question for the farmers. Why is it so? Because the soil is being completely being adulterated with a lot of chemicals. In the ancient past, I have done the farming way back in '94. That's when I started learning from my father. I used to crop paddy. I used to cultivate paddy. There are a lot of challenges happened. I got a district collector award with 10,000 rupees cash prize those days, which was the biggest achievement in my lifetime for doing an organic cropping. I used cow's dung as a fertilizer for growing the seed. That's how I started. But it came to applying of pesticides. I used 10 different leaves, including tulsi. There are 10 other herbs which I used to make it as a pesticide. When I use this, the kind of master seeds I created helped me to, many people to cultivate the master seeds. I gave them all free for them. The next year when I repeated the same, I made heavy profit out of this entire exercise. So agriculture needs a lot of focus. It's based on my hands-on experience towards this particular profession. Next is about farm and the consumer. Today, there are a lot of intermediaries. Take Reliance Fresh as an example. Don't get biased by the brand, biased about the brand. So if you go to Reliance Fresh as the place where to buy vegetables, or take any other more shops. They directly get the products based on the tie-up with the farmer, right? How much of proportion that would be less than 0.8 percentage, which is being directly brought from the farmer to the consumer. Rest 90 plus percentage, 98 percentage are being taken over by the intermediaries, where the farmers are not being actually benefited. Go further. The farmers are also getting impacted by various insect attacks. So I happened to review some of the doctoral papers in another university where there are 10 people who came with a real life solution. One person I selected who has taken help from government to implement an internship project where they used sensors. Government has sponsored for giving them sensors to detect the diseases that is going to happen. With the predictive analytics, it gives solution. I suggest all of you to do focus more on agriculture, which based on the pattern of challenges that is happening in this industry. Please support this agriculture as the profession. Why should I do? Why am I supposed to do this? If you have specific questions, I have a mic with you. Please feel free to ask any questions. Any of you have any questions? I want to make the session to be more of interactive than being monopoly. So please, being a monologue is not something which is going to give me happiness. If it is going to be interactive, which also makes me to feel that I'm delivering the right message over here. If you have any questions, especially on the topic of agriculture, I'm a subject matter expert only on this space. I can proudly call that out. Any questions on agriculture, cropping? What can I do? Whether I can do organic farming, inorganic farming, rooftop farming. Any questions? I'll repeat the question. How IoT is playing a vital role in agriculture. Today, I've been to one of the farms around Tamil Nadu, where they have installed a lot of sensors, cameras, which are predominantly controlled with the remote device. One for irrigation purposes, as they have completely pipes being installed across the field, which is being remotely controlled. Okay, for some purpose. This is one way they have to. Second is they have kept sensors all across. The sensors predominantly will keep monitoring the plant's growth. If at all any deviation, outliers, the color changes, or if you see the kind of insects that attack the plants as a pattern. There's a pattern being identified in the software which they have installed. If at all that happens proactively, they get a notification from them. If the water is less, all this kind of monitoring comes from. It is one-time investment, but there are plenty of devices available which are very less in cost and so they afford because it's today you see the segmentation and fragmentation of farming is making it pretty costly. If you do it in bulk, do it in mass, still you can make profit. For that, there are special purpose devices. Very good question. In fact, I went with the same kind of expectation. What they have done is they have used spaces for the tractor to operate and blow the field. The space what they have given is good enough to manage the entire expense. Based on the experience, whatever they sell internally, there's a pipe crosses through what happens, whether the tractor will damage the pipe, or the sufficient covering for the pipe, so that's the fact. Also, security measures will be well taken care of. Early risk reduction, including weather, stress, heat, all those things are being very well. So, IoT is playing a vital role in. There are plenty of opportunities. Any questions? Not to move on. So next is about automobile industry today. The manufacturing, we know, Ola has set up a manufacturing center somewhere close to Cricket.
Sir, what are the demerits by using technology in agriculture? We all are familiar with advantages, using technology in agriculture. Then what about demerits? Like what are the disadvantages using technology in agriculture? Facing by farmers.
Another interesting question. You see, there are plenty of there are merits which also can end up as a demerit. See, as here we're talking about bringing the producer-consumer connect, no intermediaries. What happens here? Lot of produce, less consumption. What happens here? This is a demerit, right? The consumers get to see, speculate the market. This is a major demerit which are expected to happen, right? Someone will find a solution for that. At this stage, this has to evolve. This market has to mature. You see, if the consumer industry is more focused, lot of produce also happens, right? We are waiting for that to happen. You see, as much as we produce, consumer space also increases, right? Others also will get to see that the product is available at a lesser price. Assuming we are producing sugarcane, right? Karnataka being primary hub for sugarcane. If you go to Mandya, you can see plenty of sugarcane cropping happens. A lot of agriculture happens around sugarcane. But that is the market. Can we export this to other countries? Do we produce that much? Until that happens, still it will continue to be a merit. But once that market saturates, then it becomes demerit. It's not going to happen for sure, but there are plenty of demerits which I don't want to bring it here. This is my favorite industry. The industry has to grow. Any other question? But a good question. Appreciate that. Yes.
Before. Don't have too many acres of land and most of them are unirrigated. So how can we convert them to natural fertilizer instead of chemical fertilizer and also adopt technology?
Good question again. If you see, there's a trend happening in the industry about organic farming. Today, there's the focus on organic farming is being encouraged by the government. It's not only central state. Everybody is focused towards health, right? If you see, the taste bed of people is also changing when it goes to inorganic way of farming. I have an aversion to those foods, have health problems. So that indirectly we are contributing to healthcare industry, isn't it? If you are not doing an organic farming. So government is also giving subsidy. For example, if you are installing your solar power, you give the solar power back like that. If you are creating master seeds, especially when you make a inorganic farming and organic farming, there is a comparative study. There are plenty of devices which assess the amount of chemicals in the produce that you make. If you are making ragi, if you are making rice, if you are making sugar cane or vegetables, there are plenty of devices to check and calibrate the master seeds. So government started giving incentives. That is the only way to encourage the farmers to make more of organic. There's a threat. The threat has been created by the healthcare industry, which is also encouraging the farmers. Farmers are also getting educated without having the educational knowledge. Awareness is getting spread, but it will take time. So one challenge is about urbanization. Like when the villages are more getting into concrete constructs, which is a threat to the industry, but things will change. It is changing, but maybe after a decade, when you look at this, the education is the only way to enforce all these things to happen. It's transforming. We need to wait and watch. But it's certainly a concern. Even I do have the same concern. But I and you cannot solve this alone. But the good governance is the only way to get it. Any other question? If not, we move on. A lot of things to cover. But this is the landing slide where we have many focus. Every one of you should have more of the industrial segment. Next is moving on to automobile. As we see, this is another transforming industry, moving away from petroleum-based products to electronic vehicles, starting from two-wheeler, three-wheeler to four-wheeler to multi-axle buses and trucks. Everybody getting towards that transformation. I think I would like to skip this industry because this has been focused by everybody in the world due to global warming. So this is another potential area where we have sufficient space to operate. Next, education industry, which is something I want to additionally emphasize on. This needs your augmented reality, virtual reality to experience your educational outcomes. You see the civil industry, which has been very much mature on this, comparing other industries, where you want to visualize your house, the constructed house, constructed parameters of the house. You can see that, you can visualize that, which is having a high potential on animations and videos. We go to next. So this is education, one part of it. So industries specifically, there are plenty of industries comes under education. The other part is learning perspective. So in the past, we had books to read. After that, the transformation happened. We started using self-paced learning. Today we have a lot of YouTube content to learn by yourself. The next generation learning is going to be totally, quantum based. What is the quantum based? You stand before a machine. The machine will do a parametric analysis of yourself or a psychometric analysis on yourself and tell you what is your strength. That is the expectation happening in this industry. The education industry is going to do a predictive analytics, like you go sit before an astrologer to identify what is the future is going to be. It's a similar pattern. The things are going to change. There's more. Next is about energy and sustainability. We spoke about solar power. It's all about solar power. Then healthcare. You see this healthcare industry as a transformation. In the past, we go to the doctor for getting the prescription of medicine. In the future, you can see that in next half a decade, where you don't need to go sit before a doctor. The doctor's job is going to be replaced by the machines. Doctor's job is predominantly to surgeries, operations, and emergencies. This is the transformation going to happen in the healthcare industry. Moving on to pharmaceutical. Pharmaceuticals are very well connected to manufacturing aspect. The produce of medicines, the produce of various way of injecting the medicines based on the diagnostics outcomes comes from the healthcare industry. Next comes the insurance industry. Today, the way we go do a market analysis, whether I go with ECHO, whether I go with policy bus, or where to find my right insurance for my two-wheelers, three-wheelers, or my health insurance. trend is going to change. Today also, if you see the comparative study, there are cases for you to do a market analytics to understand